Hello and welcome again to Chapter 1, Part 2, Legalization. This part primarily deals with street prostitution. Some of the major downfalls with street prostitution, for one, are pimps and pimp violence. I don't know if you know anything about street prostitutes, pimping, anything like that, beyond the glorified versions that you see in movies and stupid things that people, oh, it's pimping this and pimping that, and in reality, pimping is a very violent and oppressive type of social order type of thing going on. The prostitutes and the pimps experience a great amount of violence between them, and it's mostly pimp on prostitute violence. But pimps will use violence, threats, even murder as an example to other prostitutes as a means of controlling them. Not only that, but prostitutes can commit violence on their customers. They can rob them, they can kill them. Pimps can rob and kill the customers. Customers can rob and kill the prostitutes. There's this whole world of violence that is completely unnecessary, and I'm here to try to solve it. And the way I'd like to solve it is by bringing pretty much the sex industry in its entirety all into one single facility. This type of facility would combine street prostitutes, brothels, massage parlors, escort services, fetish clubs, webcasts, pornography, phone sex, strip clubs, swingers clubs, sex toy stores, and even things like singles clubs. The goals of combining all of these different types of sexual services, for lack of a better word, into one common facility is, for one, to protect the women from pimps and other outside forces that would use them, abuse them, and also to protect the clients. Protect them from physical violence, threats of diseases, theft, anything like that. It should protect them from that. It would also do another beneficial thing. It would provide access to certain types of training. And I know you're thinking, like, what the fuck kind of training are you talking about, right? Well, these like super sex facilities would, since they'd attempt as much as they could to be a full service type of facility where these girls could actually live. They would include things like a food kitchen, a gym, a spa, a hair and nails place, counseling services, possibly even a movie theater or a daycare, because some of those girls have children. And if you try to think about the kinds of training that would be available for those things, if you have a gym like on site on this one facility, then you might have a nutritionist working there, or you might have a personal trainer working there. So you'd be able to give the girls or guys, both would be able to go there, access to training on how to be a nutritionist, take classes on how to be a nutritionist, a physical trainer. There'd be a hair and nail spa there, so you'd be able to give them access to learning how to do hair, nails. There'd be a bar at the strip club, or at the swingers club or the singles club, there'd be a bar at those, so you'd be able to give the girls and guys access to learning how to mix drinks, mixology, so they can get a job outside being a bartender. Since there's a massage parlor in there, the happy ending type, you'd also be able to train them on reflexology, non happy ending massaging type stuff. Since there's a food place then there, they'd have access to chef classes so they can learn to cook, maybe work at a restaurant, something like that, short order cook type of stuff. Anything that the girls or the guys would want access to. One of the things that would be available to them is counseling services, not only financial but emotional, to help them put back their lives after being on the street and being abused and stuff like that, and make sure they maintain their financial status and their emotional status and whatnot. So you might want to give them, they might end up being interested in that kind of field so they can help other women just like them. So you might want to offer like a grant or a scholarship program to some sort of, or an internship, something like that, to psychology degree or a counseling degree, whatever would help them out with that, something that they'd be interested in, and you'd also be able to put that information on site. The goal of the training would be to give them a way out of this facility. This facility, if legalized, would bring in huge amounts of street prostitutes. Pretty much every street prostitute out there would be coming into this place because, for one, it protection from pimps. Like, that's one of the reasons why women go to pimps, is for protection, and then they realize their pimp's just gonna beat them, and hopefully they get a pimp that beats them less than another pimp. But this place would not beat them at all. and it'd help them take care of their kids, it'd help them take care of their lives, it'd give them training so they could eventually get out of this business. One of the second goals of this facility is to lower the overall amount of sexual acts actually happening. And you're probably asking what that means. Let me put it to you this way. One of my big questions is, what is the difference between prostitution and pornography? In both of them, you're being paid to have sex with somebody else. The only real difference is the fact that any random person can pay that girl to have sex with them in prostitution, but you have to audition or meet certain requirements and get blood tested and stuff. Hopefully, I think those are part of the regulations to be in pornography. But in reality, it's basically the same act that you're paying for. The facility would actually offer the option for some of the customers to have some sort of discount on performing a sexual act, I guess, on the girls if they would sign a waiver to have it be recorded and distributed as pornography at some point. A lot of the webcast type of sex acts, things that go out there, could actually be combined in some sort of and the same thing for the webcast. They could sign a waiver to say that it's okay for it to be published on a webcast. So the facilities that you can go to and watch a woman on a one-way mirror do her thing and masturbate or whatever, or, a guy the other way around if a girl's, well, I don't think they have those. But all those things can be actually combined. Like, I guess it'd be like a peep show, I think is what it's called. And you can actually put that on closed circuit television so you don't have to worry about them signing waivers. It'd be kind of like a added security measure for the girls because someone else would be watching it. But I mean, you'd give those girls the money for the peep show, for the webcast, for the porn they made, and the sexual act all at once. And that way you'd come out with more product and actually be offering less sexual acts, physical sexual acts themselves. And also, like I said earlier, this place would also include a swingers club, toy store, and a singles club. And what I mean by toy store is a sex toy store. But the toy store can actually sell products that the customers can use in the peep show rooms on the closed circuit televisions. Or if somebody wants a lap dance and they can use these toys at the same time on themselves, or whatever they want to do, you can try to find ways to get the customers to help themselves while you're providing them with visual stimulus so that the women themselves don't actually have to perform the sexual acts multiple times or even at all. Sorry. Like I said about the swingers clubs and the singles clubs, this facility can also include clubs for swingers. I don't know if you know what a swinger is. I hope I don't butcher the definition, but it's basically a couple or a person, it's a couple that like to have sex with other couples, in an open way, just sexual, like they're not trying to form relationships with these people. I don't think, besides friendships, in a sexual way. That's just something they do, and they have facilities like that, freestanding ones like the Green Door or the Red Rooster, whatever kind of clubs, and they charge admission fees and they let couples and they even let singles in there so that they can find a room to themselves or they can just have sex out in public. And if they find a couple in there that they want to have sex with, then they can have sex with them. Or if they just like to have people watch them have sex, or they like just to watch people have sex, or whatever the case may be, you're bringing in and also the singles club so that singles can meet up and stuff like that. You're bringing these people together so that they can do their own sexual acts and maybe have other people observe them, join in, do whatever, or singles meeting up and, having sex there, or, forming some sort of outside the club relationship. But you'd also have that means of them coming in there, and you'd also give the option for them to get their sexual needs out in that manner. So if you're a single guy and you come in there, like, I want to go to this, basically sex Disneyland place, and, I don't really know what I want. So you go in there, it's like, oh, okay, I can go to the massage parlor, and that'll cost me this much money. Or I can go to the strip club and that'll cost me this much money. Or, I could just pay for a prostitute, that'll cost me this much money, or whatever, depending on that. Or I could just go to the the little peep show place, and that'll cost me this much money. Or I could just go to the singles club or the swingers club, see if somebody wants to have sex with me there. So if other people are going to have sex, or other people are out there looking for sex that aren't prostitutes, that aren't paying the other person money for it, just the facility to facilitate it, then you're taking in that amount of sexual acts as well. So in effect, you're reducing the total amount that you need to spread out there. Another thing that this facility would offer is it would also offer male strippers and prostitutes and fetish workers or whatever those things are, phone sex line workers. And if since the male workers would also live there and the female workers would live there and they probably use the same gym or whatnot, then they might end up forming relationships and they might want to have sex with each other. It's like, okay, well, you're both sex workers and you both want to have sex with each other, so you might as well film it and then use it on the closed circuit so that people there can watch it, webcast it, sell it as porn, whatever, to reduce the amount of sex acts for that too. And the next thing I'd like to get into is the giving the women a choice of clients. Now, this might sound kind of weird, but try to picture it as you come into this club as a client, and obviously you need to like sign up, pay your money, and whatnot. Let's assume that it's at somewhat of a technological level higher than, maybe normal areas, but you'd be able to create a profile for these clients, and all the girls would have access to these profiles that are created and while they're being created. So if you want to designate that you're completing a sexual act that day or that so if you're interested in completing a sexual act that day as a worker, then what you can do is you can take a look at the profile of the incoming customers and I guess kind of make an offer to them. So if you find someone attractive that comes in and you really wouldn't mind having sex with them at all, because you think they're kind of cute or handsome, or if it's a guy and a girl customer, you think that girl's hot or whatever, then you can actually make an offer that would start out at a low bid. And it's kind of like, I guess, when you come in there as a client, the girls would actually bid for you, and what they would bid is low prices. So if they want to have sex with you, their bid would be the lowest price. And it would go up from there. Like they would basically rank you on a scale, and that's how much their bid offer would be for you. So if you look at that from the client's perspective, you're coming in and this girl thinks you're attractive, so you can pick the low end one and pay less money, which you're probably going to do. Or you can pay an astounding amount of money to have sex with this person that could be really hot or just could not be interested in you, whatever the case may be. But chances are you're going to try to pick the hottest girl for the lowest price. So what that does, not only give the customer more options, but it really gives the workers the more options. And one of the worst things about prostitution is being forced to perform these sexual acts over and over again. And not only that, but forcing them to do it to people that they think are disgusting. So for this system, it would actually give them somewhat of a choice of or at least a suggested choice, the possibility of a choice as to who their clientele might be. Another aspect of the choice for the workers would be where it is that you wanted to work that day. If you come into this facility off the street as a street prostitute, there are so many different available things that you can do. You could go work at the strip club and just dance. You don't have to have sex with anybody. You could work at the phone service. You could work at any of the support facilities. You can do hair, nails, makeup. You can run the tanning salon that they have in there. You can, check people into the gym. You can check people into the facility and write up their profile. You can choose any one of the services that they offer in there that's non-sex related. Even the security of it. Every sexual act and every area of the place would be monitored, right? And if you're one of those girls and it's just like an off day for you and you really don't want to do anything with any of the clients, or you just feel gross, or you're just sick of it, or whatever's going on with you that day, you can just choose to monitor their security cameras, to keep the other girls safe. Somebody's got to man that post. And honestly, being a guy, if I was around there watching all these sex acts, I probably wouldn't be able to handle that for very long, but you never know, a girl might. watching all that and maybe working on the phone sex lines, that might get her worked up. Maybe she'll actually want to go out and do those sexual acts later. I know that sounds really bad, but it's a possibility there. So, yeah.